Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Arlington Life Today. I'm Gary Livingston, and you may notice a little something different this week rather than in weeks past, but I'm beardless today. I shaved last night.
Yeah, that's the big
That's
change.
the big difference.
That's the big change. Or I have a new last name.
Oh, yes, that also happened since the last time we joined you. This is my wonderful wife, Ashley Livingston, soon to be Livingston. You're in the process of changing that, I think.
It's a process.
And we are happy to be joining you guys this morning. So we hope that you loved that sermon from Tom as much as we did. So good. Do you have any highlights that you wanted to point out from it?
Quick brief is it's really talking about when we're praying, when we're worshiping, all of that, instead of trying to make it about us, instead of trying to get praise for what we're doing, we're trying to get praise for praising God.
Yeah, brownie points. There's no need for brownie points.
Exactly. And the reality is like, it's not about us. It's about praising God. It's about lifting him up and talking and building a relationship with him. It's not about us. Yeah. And so that's what really...
That's what stuck out to you.
Yeah.
And what stuck out to me is the term motive, right?
Yeah.
The motive. You hear that in crime dramas. You hear that in all these shows with bad guys, right? And so I think Tom put it best. He said, you get your attaboys, but you don't necessarily get them from the Father. So there's no reason to show off. And it doesn't mean, at the same time, it doesn't mean that there's no reason not to pray in public or to raise your hand in worship or to simply worship how you're wired. That's a term that I love very much. Worship how you're wired. It doesn't mean that you can't do those things, but you have to check your motive at the door and remember that your motive should be all about the intimacy that you find with God. Yeah,
because I mean, the reality is when your motive is to get praise from the people around you, that's fleeting. Mm-hmm. It's not going to last. It's not going to stay with you. For sure. But when you're worshiping God and praising him, like that's what matters, is that's what lasts. That's absolutely. The feeling that lasts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the feeling that lasts, and that's kind of the best feeling you can have, is that you create that intimacy with God because you've already gotten your reward being grace, right? So that is awesome. If you missed that sermon, stay tuned for after YG for third service, our Mosaic service, and Tom will be right back up there, and you can catch it on the flip.
So good.
We got a few announcements for you this morning. You want to take over, Mrs. Livingston?
So the first thing is October 2nd, Sabbath October 2nd, we have our ministry fair. So it's an opportunity to come, and all of the ministries will be set up in the lobby, I believe. Yeah, and they'd be in the lobby, and that'd be next Sabbath. Yeah. Can you believe we're already to October of 2021? Yeah. That's crazy. That's insane. So next Sabbath. So come check it out. Talk to the people in the ministries, and just, if you don't have a place where you can serve and that you feel called to, then here's your chance to really check them all out. We're looking for volunteers. Stay tuned for that one. We'll tell you about that in just a second. But I think we have another group that's meeting, right? Something with DIY. Yeah, so there's a DIY group. So many of you know Carla. Yes. Her sister Adriana is hosting a DIY group. So basically, you can come, you can learn how to use power tools, you can learn how, like, just the basics and how to do all of it. Because for me, not my strong suit. Yeah. So and your dad works in construction, so it's like, how do you not know how to use power tools? You'd think I'd know. But it's fine. It's okay. But so if you want to come, classes are free. But spacing is limited, so make sure that you sign up to reserve your spot. And everybody's welcome. Yeah, male, female, doesn't matter. Exactly, everyone's welcome. So if you want to sign up for that, it is on Arlington Life Online. Yeah, absolutely. Now, big announcement. Maybe it's been announced, but it hasn't been announced by me, and you know I'm a big fan of this. But October 16th. Shindig is back. That's right. We're going to have our good old-fashioned Texas party right outside in the parking lot, October 16th. But the weekend is jam-packed because we also are bringing back the speaker series of Arlington. So on the 15th and Sabbath of the 16th, right, we're going to have the speaker series. We have Dr. John Pauline, Dean of the School of Religion at Loma Linda University out in California. They'll be our speaker. And then Sunday evening, wrapping everything up,
Saturday evening, wrapping everything up on the 16th at 7, we have Shindig making a comeback. So you're going to want to make sure to be here. It's going to be Ashley's first Shindig. And
I've never experienced it.
You've never experienced it. I will say, our key term that we have, and we're going to talk to this gentleman in a little bit, but Shindig works. If you are single out there and you're looking for a Adventist relationship or spouse, we're going to talk with Alberto in just a little bit, but Shindig works. You'll learn more about what that term really means. And then Arlington Life Online. Of course, this is your one-stop shop email for all things Arlington. So you should get that on Thursdays. If you do not get that on Thursdays, make sure you go to arlingtonadventist.com, find the online resources, and you can subscribe as well as download this week's there as well.
I should probably do that.
You should. I get them every Thursday. Sometimes I get 2. I don't know why. I think it's because I have multiple emails signed up. So
that'll probably do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So more big announcements. So Revive Open House. So everyone is invited to the new Revive Community Center on Sabbath, October 9th. So Revive has made a ton of amazing changes, and we want everyone to be able to come and see them yourselves. So they're going to have tours throughout the morning from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's on October 9th.
So that's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And for those that don't know or just tuning in, or you're like, what is Revive? Revive is our outreach ministry. It started out water bottles and snacks at Unity Park in Fort Worth, and awesome. That was over a decade ago, and now it has grown. We have Heidi is our pastor in charge of that entire thing, so it's growing so much, and they need lots of help, lots of volunteers, and they need some stuff too, right?
Yeah. So speaking of, food pantry. So this week, Revive's Food Pantry distributed groceries to over 200 families.
Let's go. Like that's awesome.
That's one thing that's like you hear that and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. But no, that's 200 families that did not have enough food that they now can have meals.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. So many families are being blessed by y'all's donations every week. So he was saying that they're collecting some items. So Revive Food Pantry will collect canned tomato soup and boxes of crackers for 1 more week.
Okay, 1 week. That means October 2nd, no more of those.
Yes.
Right.
So because after that, they are starting the collection for our annual Thanksgiving baskets.
Oh, yes, the Thanksgiving baskets.
See, all of this is new to me, so I'm excited.
Well, it's new to a lot of people. You know, we didn't have a lot of this, last year. I think we were just talking about it in the car that Arlington has really only been reopened because of the pandemic for about a calendar year at this point. So a lot of these things are kicking back up. It's things people forgot about. And so, yes, those Thanksgiving baskets, whole Thanksgiving dinners for people that need it, that don't necessarily have it. So
amazing. Once again, amazing. So along with that, they're continuing to collect diapers size 4 to 6, and then women's personal hygiene products such as sanitary napkins and boys products. Super important things.
Very important things.
So Revive Restored shelves have gotten low on children's clothing as well. So they are beginning to accept children's clothing for ages 0 to 13. And they will continue to collect blankets, linens, and towels as well. So feel free to bring your donations to the foyer on Sabbath morning, or you may drop off your donations in the office during business hours. Yeah,
absolutely. I would say they probably need some jackets as well. I think we're coming in. We're starting to get chilly. Bus stop in the morning, even for those that need it the most. So if you got any jackets that are too small, I think I have one that we might need to see about donating. So awesome. Well, thank you for all those updates on Revive. Yes. That is amazing. So, UG Conference. For those of you that don't know, UG is our youth group here at YG and Arlington Life. So UG, they are in the upstairs now. They used to be underground, but we kept the name UG. The conference, this is an experience like no other. It's a gathering of students from all over. They come together to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They'll be engaging in worship, hearing inspiring messages, challenged to discover their purpose and find a deeper sense of belonging. At UG Conference, they're seeking to equip a generation ready to change the world. You have to register for the conference, go to Arlington Life Online, and then we also have a promo video coming up. And afterwards, stay tuned because you don't want to miss our one-on-one with Alberto Mars.
There are all kinds of cliques and groups of people. They are all there for you to choose, or do they choose you? We are constantly trying to measure ourselves to see if we can wiggle into acceptance. A place to belong is what we yearn for. Our hearts undeniably crave it. It's what we all want, to feel valued, to be wanted and heard, to be seen. But society's walls keeps us from reaching it. We are so caught up in how cool we are, how we look, how we talk, how we dress, how we act. Who you are is always under surveillance. Society teaches us to critique, criticize, and compare each other. We are thrown up against the wall of society's and even our own peer standards of what is acceptable, and then expected to contort ourselves to fit the mold. How do you fit in? How do you fit out? The definition of family is two or more people who share goals and values and have long-term commitments to one another. This is where real relationships are formed. Family does not follow the perception of how cool you are. There are no standards to live up to other than being who you are fully. It doesn't matter what kind of home you come from or what group of friends you have, what label has been attached to you, or what your past looks like. Family means the opposite of what society offers us. There is no mold to fit into. It all falls under one single premise: shared love and commitment. The commitment to each other is to take care of one another first. It is being received as who we are and extending that love to others who are also searching for a home. Family is called to cry together, enjoy life together, and grow together. It is not merely mended by the idea of feeling fragile and shallow standards or qualities. Being a family is more than that. To unconditionally love, just like He loved us first.
Welcome back, you guys. With me, we've got Alberto Mars, commonly known to, I think, close friends as Berto, right? So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm the oldest of three. My mom, she lives in the Dallas area, Pleasant Grove.
Okay.
She's been going to that church since, maybe 84 or so.
Okay.
My dad, unfortunately, passed away back in 2005. And I have married to Raquel.
Yes.
I've been married 7 years, almost 7 years in December.
7 years, man,
Yes.
That is crazy. It
That
just
is.
feels like the other day, man.
It does.
Raquel, your wife.
Yes.
And you guys met. I mentioned it earlier, so I want to bring it back around. You guys met at Shindig, is that correct?
Correct.
Or that was one of your first dates, something like that?
No, I actually met her at Shindig.
You met her at Shindig, okay.
Yes, that's why Shindig works.
Shindig works.
Yeah, and I don't tell a lot of people this story, but when I first saw her, I saw her in color. Everything else was black and white. So that's when I knew that was a sign from God.
That is awesome. I love hearing that story.
And
That's
then
awesome.
I asked her to dance, and I guess ironically, Pastor Allen happened to be taking pictures.
He got a good one that they used for Shindig promos and stuff like that. Yeah.
And little did we know that was going to be the picture that, where everything, was different in our future.
That is awesome. That is so cool to have that moment of where you met, you danced, and now she's your forever dance partner. That is so cool. So cool. So you got your beautiful wife. Tell us a little bit more about the family.
So I have 3 stepkids, all older. God didn't bless us with kids, and at first we were a little bit disappointed, but then we came to accept it. But the oldest, Janessa, she is a nurse in Georgia. She actually works in Savannah, but lives in South Carolina. They're like 30 minutes apart there.
Okay.
Lauren, she recently got married about 3 years ago. She has 2 babies, so yes, I am a grandfather now.
Grandfather.
Yes.
All right.
And actually, I had the privilege of actually marrying her and her husband.
That's awesome.
So,
that is so cool.
About a year and a half before the wedding date, they approached me and asked me if I wanted to marry them. And I was like shocked. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
So I went online, got ordained, and
Yeah. Is that one of those moments you're like, wow, this child really does see me in that light of a father figure or so, right?
Yes. Yeah. In
That's
fact,
awesome.
Later that night, I remember just crying, to Raquel. I was like, wow, she actually sees me that way, that she wants me to be the one that marries him.
Yeah.
So I feel honored.
That is definitely an honor. That is very cool.
And then the youngest, Cyrus, He is currently a junior at A&M.
Junior
Yes.
at A&M already. Man,
Yes.
that is crazy.
Yeah, and funny story, when he graduated from Burton, he actually had 4 rides to 4 Adventist colleges, and he turned all of them down to go to A&M.
Hey, that Aggie, man, there's something about those Aggies. Well, you're an Aggie, I think, yes? Yeah, so this is the Aggie
and I didn't-
blood in the veins. They just,
Right, and I didn't pressure him at all. Raquel was like, "Don't pressure him into going there."
you say that, but I think, that if you have an Aggie ring, there's a little pressure right there. Like, that's why I have a North Texas one about the same size, but there's a little pressure, I think, internally there. So you said your mom was in the church since '84. Was she here at Arlington, or what brought you to Arlington specifically?
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but after my dad passed away in '05, I kind of went through a little depression because I didn't know what it was at that time. So I ended up, just like, kind of lost for a little bit. At that time, I had a good friend of mine, my best friend, who was studying theology at Southwestern. He was like, "Hey, why don't you move to Keene with me?" So I was like, "Hey, that's not bad."
Yeah.
So I went to live out there for 2 years. After he graduated, and they sent him off to Corpus to go pastor a church down there. I was like, okay, I need to find a new home church.
Yeah.
And I remember that morning I prayed to God, said, "God, lead me to where I can use my skills." At that time, I knew how to run a soundboard.
Okay.
So I came up here. I remember it was July of, I think it was '09, and Adrian and Ryan were actually made an announcement after YD saying, we need help in the sound booth.
Yeah.
If anyone can help, come and see us. So like, wait a minute, I know how to do that. God, is this a sign?
That's your sign right
Yeah,
there.
and that's how I got involved.
That's
First,
awesome.
working with the sound, the sound upstairs.
Very cool, very cool. So that would be Adrian Riojas and then
Yes.
Ryan Gill. Of course,
Yes.
Ryan back in the studio right now, helping with this. And the soundboard would have been upstairs at that point, right?
Yes.
Lots of changes because you said that was '09 or
Yes.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of differences. What are some of those roles? You said you started out kind of soundboard. What are some of the roles you've taken on and the ways you've done things here at Arlington?
After a few years, I guess, working in sound, I actually was named like a small group elder. So I
Okay.
started leading out small groups. And then after Dave left, the YG elder position came open. And next thing I know, Russell, at that time he was the head elder, approached me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in serving as YG elder?" So I was like, "Sure." And I ended up doing that for about 5 years. Right before I turned 40, I was like, I need to turn this position over to someone that's younger than 40.
Yeah.
And I think it's still maybe Kenneth Rose is still.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that he is still in that position. So, but yes.
Yes, and then after that, my wife and I were like, okay, we're empty nesters, young empty nesters. Like, there really isn't any ministry, I guess, for us. So I was like, okay, where do I get involved in?
Yeah.
And just talking to Philip one day, he was like, hey, why don't you help me teach Sabbath school?
There you go.
So I started doing that, and in fact, I'm leading out for him since he's out on vacation today.
Okay.
So, like I said, I love getting involved just in different facets of ministry. I know my
Yeah.
wife; she's real involved in Revive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever she gets a chance, we help out. I think a few weeks ago they had a soup kitchen trying to prepare meals, and so we came out on a Friday and kind of helped out with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, just to clarify, the only reason you stopped as YG elder because you were turning 40 is because it was self-choice.
Yes.
We don't have an age, discrimination of any kind at YG or even at Arlington for
No.
volunteers. It's from 9 to 99 or 1 to 99, doesn't matter.
Right.
But that was just you felt a transition in your life.
Right, and I figured 5 years is time to
Yeah.
turn it over to someone else as well.
For sure. That's awesome. New eyes on the project. You said small group. You started leading out in a few small groups. One of the, I think, best small group ministries that we have here at Arlington is the Haystacks. Do you want to explain what the Haystacks are?
Yes, Haystacks is basically the softball team that the church puts together. We have our all-star outfielder and second baseman right here next to me.
I don't know about all-star, but I will say second base preferred over outfield for sure.
So we play every Sunday at the Arlington softball fields behind Walmart off of 20. And we've been doing that for, 4 years now, maybe 5
It's
years?
been longer than that because it was
Yeah.
before I was in Oklahoma, before COVID. So it was a while. It's been a while, probably 5 or 6 closer to it.
Right.
But we're always looking for fans out there. We're also looking for some new blood to come out and play. So you can contact any of us. You can talk to Levi Whitcomb, Philip Bells. Yeah, because we got people in different transitions of life. So we've got new fathers, we've got grandfathers, I think you and my dad, and then you have newlyweds, so a big diversity. We also have a co-ed team, so this is not just for men. We got a co-ed team. So if you got any ladies out there that are looking to play softball, come on out. It's a ton of fun. So, Alberto, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for
It was
having
awesome. We are going to transition now to our worship time for YG. We're going diving into our I Am Second series led by Alan Martin. Today, we are talking about how I live. So stay tuned. And after YG, we'll transition back into our prayer time and we'll host you then. So thank you so much. Remember to be safe, stay blessed, and I am second.